drawings, we can see where this tunnel used to be.
I'll show you this. This shows you exactly where it's at, but then it's an old picture.
Yeah.
You see where it crosses the green and steam on it. The red projector. If we had a new aerial photo, you could like do an overlay and you'd know. You know.
Oh yeah, the other interesting.
We hope to do some overlays.
Yeah.
We're going to go talk to Bill Graver and talk
The
about
stuff,
overlays.
a whole bunch of stuff on what happens from Cincinnati on out to Murray Avenue. Just the other side of Murray was, he talks about some things that I don't ever remember on Brotherton Road and Brotherton Lane. But rather than go down there and go stop, 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 he talks about the various stops at Waterston and other places. So that starting down at Erie, there's several stops there that are just perfectly straight. Anytime you want to go, that was it. I don't think it's particularly interesting, but there were a lot of stops along here.
So it came down the street
So
here?
it came right down. Right under. This is the right of way right here. This is now owned by the Gas Electric Company. Yeah, Gas Electric Company, when I had an office here, allowed me to gravel this up, and since then I don't know whether it's Fairmont or who, but it's done
They've
some real
divided
nice
it up.
things to put this up. Now, so this is basically our start. You see, Gas Electric owns the power lines. He owns the right of way all the way out. And we're going to at Avoca Park, we'll see where these lines cross, so that things went to the other side. Now, right here he talks about turn left onto Cambridge. Well, we're going to go down here. It won't be Cambridge. We could even turn to Berwick, or Broad is the last one. We'll turn around Broad, and as we get just the other side of this little turnaround, that's when we'll stop and we'll look at this, which are these markers in the concrete where the cars swung around. We won't get into when they did it and where the block light was and the telephone in 1929 and that kind of stuff. But I think it's kind of interesting. I don't know how many years I went by there over and over, paying attention to why these funny little marks were in the street. And so we know some of these things and we can add to it as we go. From there, we'll just kind of look, see Rembold and Highwalk, whatever. Rembold on one side. We'll go down by the library, come out there and go down. And I think, since there's only two cars, maybe instead of parking in the video lot, we'll go right past there on Spring Street, right between these two big concrete abutments and turn over there. So,
Okay, where these telephone poles are, I mean, that's power. Have they been moved, or are they where they were?
As near as
so if you follow the poles, it's
these poles, yeah.
Okay.
And about Avoca Park is where you say, oh yeah, it crosses right there. Well, sure enough, he talks about where it crosses, and John's done a lot of research on it. He's got a list.
Well, it's like it right there at Milford, at Montauk, or whatever it is, the power station. I thought that was just for Milford all these years. They produced electric all the way to Blanchester. The one in Parenttown produced electric all the way to Hillsborough. Yeah, they got the coal off of they come over. I've got a picture in there. It shows a traction car.
He talks about double tracks
and
things,
coal.
and I'm not sure part of the time what he's talking about. But okay, well let's right now just go down and take a look at these here, and you can kind of see the poles. But because the street doesn't go clear through, we'll make a little jog and come back around here. We'll go right to here.
Okay, so we'll follow you. Okay.
As you can see what happened here. But this makes it nice for good parking for these apartments.
Oh yeah. Well, what are the dates on this railroad? When did it start and when did it stop?
Well, it stopped in June
it all depends.
1936. Come clear through right there. But we're going to stop right here.
There's a clear shot, isn't it?
Get on down.
Yeah. That's great. Well, I looked at all this and never thought a thing about what it was or why it was, and No, probably at one time when I was a kid, they were still using the streetcars, but there weren't as many houses.
Well, hey, I know up there we go hunting on the traction line up around where I live and stuff. And you know about this here, but you never think the train went here too. You know, it's like we don't know where it comes from, where it goes to.
See, this is Murray Avenue, and they just a little block there. It came right to here, and there apparently was a
But you say, boy, super planning. One time here first, and they just used it. Oh, yeah. You know, like here it looks like, oh, what a nice way to lay it out. Right.
There was a time when it turned around here, and I think probably the last ditch of everything when it was closing down further out, this was maybe the final turnaround, and then it went back.
But
yeah, they
why
get buses
is
here that run
it
electric.
like a road going across?
Yeah, but it's over there too, where see where it curves around on the other, the hump here, and then it curves around.
We've got pictures of them turning around.
Okay.
And a shelter, this loop was added in 1929. At Miami, there's a concrete walk and markers to show the car swing still there. This was stop 5 with a block light and a telephone until 1929.
Is this it here? Yeah. This concrete here?
What's the right thing? I suppose somebody who was in a shelter or here would say, if I stand behind here, when this turns, it's not going to knock me down.
But now, what are these for?
That's to say this car is going to make a turn here.
If I what?
If you stand on it.
Yeah. It would swing around here.
Stay back here.
That's what this was. Stand here and you get run over.
And very, very likely, this will be where he discharged or took off.
Edwards Manufacturing Company.
Edwards Manufacturing?
Well
yeah.
down here.
Ah.
Cincinnati, Ohio.
Yeah, down at 5th.
It turned around and the bumper stuck out a little
It
bit.
being the car, and the bumper stuck out, and so if I sit on one side, I'm
If you're in there, yeah, because he's turning this way in a circle, you know, and it just kind of goes out. Because the wheels are like right there, but then the bumper sticks out. And
You needed to be inside here.
no, you need to be on the outside.
that side,
Because it turns
because
here.
it'll be coming, yeah.
Unless you wanted a free ride, you could stand in there.
And I suspect there were probably some nasty boys who, about the time he got here and was really slow, came over, yanked the pole down off of him, so he had to stop and put it back.
What's this piece here?
That's probably just to hold the curve.
Maybe is that concrete?
Big circle.
It's that stuff.
Yeah, it's neat. It's still got the names and stuff on it, you know.
I know, but it looks as if after this was used.
Look at this.
What'd you find? Yeah, that's... It's a brave thing, isn't it?
Yes, there is.
Right in the middle of Midtown, you see it there. Because they still got, you know, some of them. They built this
Wasn't late when they started saying, hey, we aren't going to go out there anymore. This would be basically the end of the line. He would come out, turn around, and go back.
They didn't go any further than this.
Yeah,
After they shut down the other part.
Well, when would that have been?
We'll have to go with see what
What he's
David
got
comes
in
up
there,
with.
yeah.
John may have some of this. Right about here, this thing came out, and now we make a turn heading through here and went right down here, and went right on through where the high school is now. Across from the little shopping center there. David talks about wooden steps going up from Worcester Pike or from the traction line. Now, there's concrete steps there now. And it went up to some, there's Union Bethel, had their Camp Glenveer, and all the ladies, young women from the Union Bethel, hot days downtown, the hot nights, they come out here and stay in the summertime in these screened-in shelters.
Yeah.
So this was. That tree is probably not more than 30, 35 years old. And this thing, yeah. Well, trees will do that, and they'll screw up walls. Get a tree in the wrong place, it'll do all sorts of nasty stuff. Well, let's say imagine going down through here where the high school is, or some of that property there. That's where the Camp Glenveer was. Across from that, however, was a heck of a spring. Glacier Springs was one of them, Talawanda Springs was another, and there were a variety of different businesses right through that area. We don't know that much, but
Talawanda used to be there for dropping ages. Now they had a big building where they run.
Glacier Springs before that.
Well, what's happened to the springs? I mean, a spring is a spring.
Well,
What's happened?
There's several springs here. One in Fairfax is probably still flowing.
Yeah.
However, it's been shut off because but this underground flow from Lake Erie someplace has come down here and kind of come out here. Down below.
Well, they produced electric all the way to Hillsboro.
Yeah, well, see, the swing line, which came through the little edge of Terrace Park, had their power plant at Parentown.
Didn't they also have one in Madera?
Yeah, well, that was one
Yeah.
of their stuff, but the power plant was on the other side. The Norfolk and Western Railroad was right there. Norfolk and Western just dumped coal right there into this power plant.
It was over the side of the hill, yeah.
And so they didn't have to haul that coal.
Where
They
is
just
that
dump
in
it out.
Parentown?
Well, if you go into
Is the building
Parentown,
still
you
there?
cross the river to the right,
Yeah.
and to make an immediate left turn.
It's on Benning Road.
Oh, yeah.
Baldwin Benning, it used to be an extension of, it used to be Round Bottom 100 years or so ago. But anyway, at that point, I used to see this strange building with this weird pile of bricks. And last, oh, heaven's sake, looking at the way this is, yeah, this wasn't just some building, it was a power plant. But it supplied electricity clear over to Madera.
In Hillsboro, the other way.
Yeah.
If you had a 40-watt light bulb, you could get electric. That's all you had, like one light. You'd have enough for one light bulb, that's what some people told me.
That is something.
Well, I'm hearing questions. I don't have, but there was also a tiny.
Like right in here, there was
business.
concrete. Or,
Yeah, an
you could go
automobile
through the-
business right in there at one time.
Yeah,
But the Glacier Springs on this side.
yeah. And there used to be a fort right down here somewhere.
Fort.
Yeah, this is way back before
What do you
1800.
mean, one that Scammy Horn's got something about?
I don't know, but it was right down here by the river somewhere, like right in here. I had some information on it, and I didn't pursue it.
Beasley's. Yeah, he had a small station here. Yeah.
Maybe this is where the concrete was.
Yeah,
I think
the
it was.
abutment. Well, they took that abutment
Yeah,
down
they
on the
took the two
right, but
abutments off.
no, the left
That's
side
still
is still there.
How far back is
That's
the
still
line
there.
down here?
But
Okay,
it's real
good.
close. We're gonna
Yeah, because
make a
I
turn
kind of
right
missed
here.
that, you know. I said,
It's
I
right,
know when it used to
up-
be there.
right up here.
Oh, yeah, there are the power lines up there, I see.
And since I thought if we had a lot of cars, we'd park right there. But I think this may be out of the wind a little better.
Fascinating.
Now here you go. You're going right underneath the railroad tracks.
Huh. That's great.
And they've got some abutments like this.
And you'll hear them talking about the cane lands. This is what they were talking about. There were hundreds and hundreds of acres of this stuff down
Is that
through
right?
Kentucky.
Really?
It's the native bamboo.
Ah.
It just had dawned on me that those Simon Kenton fans, Simon was looking for the cane lands. Here it is right here. This is the native bamboo, the cane that Simon Kenton was looking for.
What?
This here.
That's the native bamboo. When they talk about the cane lands, Daniel Boone and others hiding from the Indians in the cane. You see it grows so... What's that?
This is native to Ohio?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Bamboo?
Yeah. This is the native bamboo. And I was down here last summer and I didn't even think about it. I was so busy looking at this side, I didn't see this side. Okay. At the camp, Union Bethel's camp, right up on the hill. Came across where it goes up to the new apartments and things up here. There was actually two more of these things, but I guess there's only one piece of concrete left there. Yeah, check that out. But this came down and right across, and we followed the thing on down, and about for the Newtown Road, about at the stoplight, it was on the left, in front of the restaurant there. It looks like there's not enough space, but there was, because the road at that point was two narrow lanes probably, so that it could easily, it was there regardless.
It was in front of the Heritage.
Yeah, in front of Heritage. So now, right at the Heritage, and David talks about, like he says his grandfather must have lived right in here.
Yeah, he's back the street right here.
Now, he names different stops that are right along there. We're going to cross, actually we're going to turn on Walton Creek, come out, and then head on down, and our next stop isn't until we get down to Avoca Park. However, between there, David talks about Walton Creek was stop number 7. There was a shelter there. I don't know whether he's talking about the shelter being right here or right down here. We'll get that in his new
These
book
were
there.
stops, I assume. The
Yeah,
shelters,
yeah, with a shelter, so to wait. It calls one Gerard's stop. Now,
Is that the
That's
Gerard
because the
family
Gerard
in Terrace
I
family.
think
Park?
it's
Mary
part of
Cohn
that
and-
same family because they covered all this whole valley.
Has Betsy
Yeah,
ever
speak
got
up about the Gerards, because that's my wife's family.
Yeah, but
Oh,
she
really?
won't tell me anything.
But
She
see, this-
related to like Mary Cohn and
Well, that's what
They
Carol-
don't know each other, but they're both Gerards, so they must.
spelled the same way.
Yeah, I think
But
so.
since I've lived in Terrace Park, it seems to me there was a house right where the Marymount Nursery or whatever it's called. There's about that much fill in there, because anytime the house that was in there for years, every time they'd get a big rain, water came off the hill from up the Turpin house up on top, and they got their feet wet. I've seen it when there's floods in this creek and everything backed up, so there was water down through it in these businesses. So there was a stop there. Now, he talks about Kelly at Bass Island, where stop number 10, right across from Newtown Road. There's a sewage system in there right now. It's fairly flat, and there was a stop there. And of course, that's an obvious stop because people there are going over to Bass Island. There were some other activities, all these camps along there. The thing I remember best, and I suppose the folks at Damifino probably got off there.
Yeah.
When I was a little kid, it was fascinating because here's all these river camps. Their back end is right on the road, and the front end on the river, and the sign on it's Damifino. little kids are impressed by that.
That's right.
So much.
Especially little
Say,
boys.
well, do you know where you're at now?
all these years later, so I know where Damifino. Now he talks about before we get to Avoca Park, another little station, and I forget what he called it. One he called Indian Hill. He said 3/10 farther, stop 12. He called it Indian Hill. Now, what I interpret that, and near as I can remember from a couple old topo maps, is that as you're going along, all of a sudden there's a real steep concrete driveway, a gray house here, and a nice brick house here, and a couple other things. That was a road at one time went up the hill, so it wasn't just those 2 or 3 houses there, and so that was a stop there. Now,
Stan, are you talking like where Jerry's fixed up?
Just a little further out, isn't it?
Up that?
no,
No, not okay.
no. This is beyond beyond Newtown Road. Yeah, as we go by, yeah, there's no houses, and all of a sudden there's 2 or 3 houses and a mailbox that gets clipped once in a while.
Yeah.
That's the one he calls Indian Hill.
And there was a road that went up.
And are you saying there would have been a bridge that went right over that structure right there?
Oh, yeah.
So this was all single track, wasn't it?
A couple of places he talks about double tracks, single tracks, and I have trouble figuring this out. And what I'm hoping is that we've got us together and everybody's, yeah, you've got minds. I can see minds going and frowns and things that, yeah. And I don't necessarily have. John's got some. I got some, and now that we get this and David's do a book, we're going to really be able to figure some of this stuff out.
Those abutments aren't wide enough for double track.
No, this had to be a single track through.
See, sometimes they'd make it a double track just so for the time schedule. Yeah, one would just go over here and one would come by. And then maybe they would change it because the steam line, down in the hole there on the south side of Terrace Park. Now, at one time, that was just straight. And then later years, it was like double track. And they stored cars there all the time. So I'd go by there to go to work, and I'd see cars there all the time. Some of the old cabooses, I was just hoping I could get an old caboose.
Yeah. No,
I can't find a map anywhere that shows where the railroad went originally. All the maps keep showing, where it's moved to go through Terrace Park.
Yeah, I have an old map that shows it following the contour line.
You do have one?
To the west, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I could make a copy sometime.
And I've been trying to find out when they made that straight line cut through Terrace Park.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, look at the dogs in the window.
Come on, Leslie. Come on, Carol. I'm documenting this.
Is that less steep? Here. Wait a minute. I'm fine. Gosh, I'll find the rear view back there.
Nobody's back there.
Let's just go get down. My big problem is going to be getting down.
Yeah.
Yes, it couldn't. This could have still had two sets of tracks.
I think so. Yeah.
Because it goes, yeah, that's pretty wide.
Yeah.
I mean, the more question is how wide is the concrete there?
Yeah.
At that point.
There. That's easily big enough for 2 lines.
They could have 2 lines there. Well, they have.
Now I'll say up at Spring, up where that new,
Yeah.
this is Spring Road, right?
This is Spring Street.
Yeah, so-
that's Spring Hill.
Yeah, Spring Hill. I don't think it's wide enough there for 2.
It might be.
And this just might be holding back the,
Well, sure.
yeah, it's that, I don't know.
Amazing. You go by these things all the time and you just
Oh, I know it.
never stop and think about them.
Well, I've been thinking about it a long time. It's just a fascinating subject to me. And interurbans were so important to people moving about in the state.
Yeah.
I mean, they finally got to leave their little towns without it being a major major effort.
came down to destroy his abode there. So
You think that's good bottomland to farm as long as the river don't come up.
let's
Well, like the Nile every
let's
spring, it'd be
realize
fine.
that the Bass Island and stuff over here, and when he talks about the sports, I know at least there was tennis. I was thinking that, and clay courts. Taking care of those must have been something. We won't get into history.
Okay, now the telephone lines do they still reflect it?
Yeah, well, this way you see the tall lines with the darker poles
Now
up
those
there.
power lines originally belonged to the traction line,
Yes,
right?
and the gas and electric part.
What,
So
CG&E took them over?
so you can see a little ledge up there where it followed along, and then it would drop down again.
It don't seem
Now
fair.
you're saying there was space in front of the restaurant here for the
It actually was
right
probably
in here.
very close to the front of it because there was a stop and things right on this.
Is
Right
that
on this.
the road? Is that the Indian Hill stop?
No, it's down. This you see on this ledge right up here. You can see where, where it's
It
flat.
starts to go up.
And that's where one of the stops. So they would get off and go over to Bass Island. What am I thinking?
Did you get over there while the Turpin site was still there? I mean, the Turner
See,
site?
you can see where they
Do what now?
Here.
I've got a Hopewell pot with a turtle on top of it. It came out of Newtown.
Have you?
Close to it, yeah.
Okay, now this is where I think this Indian Hill stop he talked about had to be. And I think the road went right up through that valley
That
there.
makes sense,
So
yeah.
that-
Otherwise,
so
why
it
would it
went
be
right
stuck
up
right there?
through there. Now, there may have been a way right through here to get into Avoca Park.
Well, you got a chain
But
back
the
here.
basic, well, there was a house
Is this
there.
a Boca Park?
That's part of, well, that's part of what the county owns. But you see now, here's this power line, and look where it crosses right here.
Oh, yeah.
All of a sudden, it crosses, and we're going to be pulling off just down here.
Right.
Yes,
I
They
know.
came across
I know.
here.
What I
Now,
like,
there's
I
the
like to see
Pennsylvania Railroad.
That's like the CNC once you
This
get
is
to
really
Parent Town.
tough.
Or
Where's
you-
the head there going right down through here? Right there.
I got the parents out
Well,
every
we'll
Friday, but I
step
never
over
paid
here
attention to
and
what's
take a
out
quick
that
look
way.
at came right down here.
So it would,
Yeah.
and at this point, it just would have been on the road. It wouldn't have been a branch road.
No, it just cut across and followed down through here to this side, the north side of the railroad, which was
North side of the railroad, right?
Madeira to
You said?
Gettysburg.
Wow.
Off that power plant.
Oh my God.
This is the railroad, right?
this is
That's the engineer.
yeah.
It is.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Well, then what happens over here? This is what Steve
You know, one thing nice back then, everything up the main line. Well, now you go jump out there.
The traction line is just, there's a little, we'll drop down and back up on, and it's not as clear as it is after you get to Tex Cafe. Tex Cafe is much clearer than it is right through here. Now, look at the deer.
Yeah.
It hasn't been too many years that they brought in a lot of dirt and raised this ball field up. Now the county owns all this. It took quite a time to get all the squatters out of here. There were a lot of cottages back through here that, well, they just wouldn't leave. And a guy would threaten them with a gun and all sorts of stuff. Now, you see, this is raised up in here. That was raised not many years ago. There were ball fields here
Yeah, I remember
before
they played
that.
ball.
Yeah.
And then later they raised that up. I think probably, I don't know where they got they had the extra dirt. They raised it up and also made it so the field wasn't so muddy. It was used 3 or 4 years ago for a Boy Scout jamboree of some sort. I saw
Remember,
the
didn't they
signs
bring
up.
the homeless down here one?
The
I think they
time
did.
homeless
for a
veterans,
weekend?
the homeless veterans did a stand-in or stand down. I helped examine eyes in a tent right over here, so they got their feet taken care of, their eyes, all sorts of things that weekend. So they stayed out here in tents and they brought equipment out. There were several of us in the Optometric Association who examined eyes.
They must have had a wonderful time.
They really did. They
Yeah,
got
I
fed
remember
well.
you
It's
talking
called
about
a stand down for the homeless veterans.
Well, now, if you looked at their eyes and you determined they needed something, then what did they do?
Well, we wrote a prescription and then they had to pick those up at I forget where
But
it
they
was.
could get the prescription.
they
I mean,
got-
a free,
yeah,
they
yeah.
did a deal on that. Good.
They got free.
Yeah,
It was
this,
nice
there
on
were
here, though. You could
softball
open
fields
things
down
to
here.
Yeah,
is that
this
right?
was
Get all the
used
junk
until
and all the
fairly recent years right here as a softball field.
Just rolled it all out and started.
Well, it was let's follow this road on down and we'll get a better idea. Right now, I think the county figures are so they got 80 some acres right here.
Really?
They go off.
Yeah.
But some of these trees are not too recent. Some of the trees have been here a while.
Oh, yes, they
Yeah,
have.
quite a
Well,
while, quite a
let's keep going down. So this is one of the reasons you see that they have trying to do this tractor stop because it's
supposed to be, well, David took a month to take about 2 weeks.
It was all screwed up again. So, a couple weeks. That was the first of the year. 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, I didn't know all this was
I
down
didn't
here.
either. That's neat.
Thank you.
Dan says bring your snippers along. I always bring a machete. That works with dogs too, and I love dogs. But one
This
I
is-
wonder if this was just a road back here?
Looks like it.
This is probably filled in over here with concrete.
So
That's what they're gonna do
quite
up
to the
there,
river
so-
yet.
No?
People are coming out here regardless.
Right. Yeah.
See, they could have been coming out on the Little Miami
Oh, yeah,
Railroad.
they could have been here.
Yeah.
And they'd just let you off anytime you
Sure.
wanted. So all of these were camps all along the river. They say, damn if I know, on out. The Scots are still using a couple of about where that is where
Flag
is
No.
no, that's before we get to that flag. We're going to
before
stop
that.
at the flag.
It doesn't say Scott Road, though, does it? I mean, I know
Well,
that's
a
where he
little white
lives.
sign
Oh, does
says
it?
Scott
Oh, it does?
Road.
Oh, okay.
He had a son in Hal's class. That's
He
how-
made his own sign.
Okay.
Then how far down is the river?
Oh, we still got 75 yards maybe or so to the river. This loops on around. A couple years ago, we were doing bird count. We had 2 or 3 brown creepers down here. Some besides they go on the bird count. It's a little hard to find some things, but the guy was threatening, sitting there in his cottage, just daring anybody to come in and try to move him. He figured he'd been here all these years and just try to get me out.
So he was a river rat.
Yeah. Well, there's a house up high. Well, there's a couple new ones there. These apartments. There's a house high up on the hill, and there's a big old ginkgo tree. And I think all the leaves are down now. But right across from there, this river really comes in, makes a big sweep, and where that big sweep comes in, it really gets narrow. And from time to time, you'll notice. In fact, there's a couple of cracks there. The Worcester Pike gets a couple of bumps in there because water's been coming down through there all these years, and it keeps wiping things out, and so finally it drops. The same as out at Worcester Pike, which in Terrace Park, which was just fixed. So right there is when you read David's stuff is where there wasn't enough room for 2 tracks, so they did this.
We had 3 tracks.
So I thought it was interesting the way he described it, and I don't know whether I've got it right here or not. Now he gets in Well, here's just about when I rode the track was a gauntlet with the inside rails overlapping to save room. So it was really squeezing the railroad and the traction line next to each other.
That is really something.
So,
Well, Dave, if that's the case, what would be the issue of the interurban crossing the railroad tracks? You know, on the same plane.
They couldn't cross it. It was too narrow. They got a gully on the other side, so they couldn't cross it there.
Well, I mean,
Unless they
cross it
built a great
somewhere.
big ramp.
Cross it somewhere.
So that was just,
If they shared the same right-of-way virtually.
Yeah. They're close by, but well, I'll tell you, when we get up there to Tex Cafe, we'll
Okay.
see some other stuff interesting, maybe help answer that.
Okay.
Well, let's go on so we don't. I say I can, you know, I can wander through.
I'm getting thirsty. It's time to go to Texas Cafe.
You might not
go to
find
Tex.
it.
you know, the only good words of wisdom I ever got about Texas Cafe is don't go there.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Yeah.
You know, it hasn't been all that long ago. That was.
Well, he's got a lot of cars back there. He's got like a business in there. Well, a lot of cars there.
Now, see, right across here is YMCA Road on the other side. Now,
Right.
David talks about. Now, this is Tower Hill right there.
Oh, yeah.
See, that was where the big old house with the tower and the 14-foot doors was. Now, here's the big ginkgo tree, but right here it really got crowded.
Yeah.
And here's the creek came down through here, and at one time there was a bridge right there.
Really?
So over that creek, so that's when we're losing stuff. But now it widens out again, and this guy just built this one 5 years ago.
Swallens or whoever just built that, didn't they?
I don't know who that is, but
Yeah, they told me it was Swallens, but I don't know.
I can't find some of the stuff on this side of the road. But the other side will be fun, I think, to see. And I'll tell you, with you guys being so darn interested in things, it's taken a little longer than I planned, but everybody seems to be having a good time.
Yeah,
so I
I'd
won't
say
worry too much about it. I can't figure out exactly what happened right here, but the traction line was coming down through here. We're standing right now on the old Pennsylvania, Little Miami Railroad line right here. The traction line is down in the hole.
Down in the hole?
I can't quite see it yet, but there's a number of places we come across here. We'll get in a little further and I think we'll be able to see what's the, I think it's we'll see it better as we get further along, but you see, right down here, it's a raised place, and that's where where that line went along. Just the other side of it,
Goes down.
it goes down a little bit, and there's a concrete drainage ditch about 10 feet wide and maybe a foot or so deep. Well, let's see if we can find a little better down through here.
Brought the clippers, and now we're at the magic point where we need them.
We've left them on the top.
We've left them in the car.
Well, why aren't we walking down here? Because it's too hard to get to?
It's a little hard walking down there too, but you can go down.
I'm inclined to do it. Would you say it's on the left-hand side or the left of the lines, the telephone lines?
It seems to be, yeah. Now, see this? As we get further along, you actually see this concrete, and there was the traction line. And you see it's more obvious further down, but boy, they've been through here cutting the last week or so. So it makes it even more tangled than what I'd planned. Oh, I'm gonna get up and then go.
Yeah.
This was the railroad right here.
What we thought.
What's down here? I thought
What
this was the railroad.
Well, that may have just, we don't know for sure whether, since 1849, whether or not at one time there may have been two set of tracks on the railroad itself. But we do know that this was a railroad because this is where the tracks came from.
Okay.
And this was the line for maintenance.
Work on it.
Okay, and then you're sure that the traction line then was down below.
Oh yeah. It becomes more obvious in some places than others. Well,
It certainly looks subject to flooding.
yeah.
Yes, if it came up over Worcester Pike and then down.
I don't know.
Oh, that's an
Osage
extra
orange?
Yeah, it's an Osage orange.
Yes, I know.
Mock orange.
But the kids were calling it monkey brains. I do that. I can tell kids that, and they kind of remember that one.
That's right. Now, were these playing fields way back up into here?
No, yeah. There's the track, and I think my concrete is right on the other side. Okay, we're down here in the deer trails. Deer love this. Okay, this is more obvious right here. This is what I wanted to show.
This is the line
Okay,
here.
there it is.
Sure it is.
But look at this. This is a concrete drainage ditch.
Okay.
And here's these houses, and the entrance of Kroger Hill Farm, or the camp, is right over there. But this is
Well, the drainage ditch is just a flood control
Yeah.
for the interurban
yeah.
and
I
the
think they-
highway.
But they figured.
And we're right under the line here. Yeah, this is
See, this is a lot more obvious than it was back here 100 years ago.
so. It's clearly high enough there to tunnel under,
Well,
isn't it?
well, yes and no. Heck, these cars are pretty tall.
Yeah.
Well, they probably dipped down. Instead of just going straight, they probably went down
Right.
and then back.
Right.
But I thought when I found this concrete, I was fascinated. You got 4 or 5 inches of water there. But this is all concrete.
Yeah.
And what is it? Maybe as much as 10 feet. Right down. It follows clear down to where we think.
We're across. Are we going to be able to walk that down here? There's a.
You and I can if we
Yeah, I think the others are proceeding up above.
since the gas actually just came through
But the so that elevated area is the traction line. Well, that's pretty high over there for the railroad line.
There's two places that we felt would kind of fit. Now this is kind of high, and why would this be so high? And then it goes around. You get right down here, you can see the old bed on the other side, on this side. So
And this kind of starts here.
Yeah, it just starts here like somebody, something in the field, they just come in and do some more.
So we think it's
I don't really expect to see.
Hmm?
Because obviously the
Oh,
water
yeah.
comes through here. But it's just a drainage.
There's a culvert through
Yeah.
there. I don't know if this would be high enough for it to cross or not. There's still lines over there.
Just telling Lee, several years ago, man, I hate to see all this going for souvenirs. I took some of these rocks that had fallen out and trying to get them from down there up to here was a lot more than I'd planned.
Oh, I'll bet. There's a pretty...
But I have some at the in my backyard, and I thinking the other day I really need to paint on there, mark them some way as to where it came from. Yeah, because right here, like that, and then onto the right of way. Is that where you were talking? Yeah.
So what do you think's under there?
Railroad ties. And as
Just decayed ties?
Yeah.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
And that side in all those bushes. And there you can probably see it.
Okay.
That's enough of
we don't have to stand still.
That's enough patterns.
Are you being able to be seen there, or are you hiding?
I'm hoping, well, I know. He can
Dan, thanks for organizing this.
Okay, well, we've got a little more to go, but
Okay.
it's the kind of stuff we can always see.
It could be in front of Grandpa.
Yeah.
Have you seen that picture?
I don't think
What John Holloway gave
I
me.
don't think I have. But this picture
That's
right here shows it right here, and there's the grocery store. A wagon here. This will stay on the left side and go behind.
But that was good. You have steps that go to the
road
steam
that goes
train. You
down
come over here.
to that house.
That used to be the old train.
I thought I remembered a road to be able to go, you know, take not, you know, just a dirt.
Well, somewhere along the other
We also put a piece back on.
there's been an elephant trail.
Probably on the other side of
But
it
this,
somewhere.
this next thing where we'll stop is this picture here. This house, this road came along and they were elevated. Here's the Pennsylvania up here, and here's the CM and
Right here is a piece of concrete, and if you look at that today, you'll see the railroad ties
Okay, now
that are kind of sunk, in there. You give them right up, they're gone.
the interesting thing about this picture right here, it says the so-called twin line of the obviously this is the Air Park National ticket. So from here to Madison to Waterson or one of those streets just beyond the
the Y is probably up here, isn't it?
Well, it's possible that because of this, here, I can't see where the Y would exist.
Well, there's the grocery. The track is here.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's out in there. But the Y, I mean, the Y would have been so the car could turn around and return and not go any further.
Well, there's a definition. This part of the reason we're doing this is to get more people thinking about it, and maybe we can.
I gotta believe that all that pavement out there is there because of
Well, see, that's
the
like
Y.
at Woodland Park. They had a Y, a couple Ys there. Nobody ever mentioned anything. But they stored they could put 5 or 6 cars there. So people could go there and then maybe tomorrow they'll leave or whatever, but they would put 5 or 6 cars. Now, those 5 or 6 cars have got to go somewhere, you know, so there's got to be a Y or another little line.
Before we go on with Dawn, we need to take a picture. I got battery stuff like that.
I want to get in the picture with you and go over by those posts.
Well, I can take the picture.
Well, no, you're in it. You're part of it.
And nobody down here knows
Go
me
on over
anyway.
there to by the posts.
Doing all this on this nasty cold day and all the snow. Last night I would have sworn they were going to have a foot of snow when we woke up this morning.
Bill, I would do it so you could
No,
get
no,
in
we
it if
all.
you
I
show
want
me
you
how
in
to
it too.
do
This is our outing.
it. But then you won't be there.
I'm going to be in it. Oh, come on. Okay.
Thanks.
Stand by. Try again.
That would have taken this.
What's up, Bill? There's a car coming.
Okay, thanks. Okay. Okay. We're good.
Here comes an airport truck. That kind of flash.
Okay. Yeah, flash that.
There we go.
Got a good flash in there.
Well, I didn't have the flash on before, but I didn't. It also didn't take it.
I don't know anything about Dave. Well, I'll have to ask Paul.
I don't know.
I haven't seen anything.
That's why I asked the question, so we could verify.
I've seen printing material.
Right here, this was
Well, it
put
had to
in.
have been in the 50s.
That was
because I
before
re-
that, wasn't it?
Well, I mean, I
Do
grew
you
up out
remember
here.
where it originally was?
Yeah, it was
Well, it's
right
right
up
here.
here.
It wasn't Miami, it was Paris Place.
where I'm at.
Early on, you didn't have the additional ones.
They're probably part of the.
Yeah. So this is shows rock like this rather than that. But they may have put that in to make things more sturdy. So they call this woodproof in wood-grade house. Well, the concrete sticking out there really shows you what the color. And interestingly enough, I realized when John and I were playing, and it may be that everybody doesn't need to go down into Avoca Park, but you folks will have better appreciation for driving down Worcester Pike. It may not be quite as boring sometimes if we know some of those things. And the other thing is we've got enough people now, if we simplify the plan that I laid out just a little bit or alter it to suit your own needs, any one of us could probably take some friends or somebody else and do a similar thing. Taking what's interesting and so
You did a marvelous job.
Thank you.
well, I appreciate that. See, it was fun and trying to get okay. What is it that would be best, and what do I want somebody to know that I know? I told somebody down at the museum. They asked, there's a bunch of volunteers and doing things, and they somebody said, well, I said, what part of what happens? I learned something, and I get excited about it. I want to share it with somebody. And Benny Burns, I think his name, a black man who does some things down at the museum, the history museum. I've never met him because he works on weekends. I work on Tuesdays. He says, that is really neat. That's probably why I started out at Wilmington College in social science and education rather than optometry, thinking that I would be a
Maybe
teacher.
you like that.
Be a teacher, and I like that sort of thing, and I've been doing little bits of it here and there ever since. So I